Hey everyone, I thought it would be fun to do a video of my most expensive watercolor purchases and if I think they are worth the money. So I'm going to show you the most expensive palette I've ever purchased, the most expensive watercolor set, maybe the most expensive tape, the most expensive brushes, and then one thing I still have to go and check is the most expensive paper or sketchbook. So the point of this video is, first of all, just to chat about watercolor stuff because that's always fun, but also to show you that the most expensive is not necessarily the best for your needs. I absolutely think that certain supplies are worth the investment and are worth the price. But yeah, the best for you is, probably you can find cheaper options. So I'll start with this because it's just so much fun. This I bought for myself as a present many years ago, not many years, a few years ago. This is a Robax palette and it's a company that makes like plastic, like super sturdy plastic, and they also make all kinds of palettes. Now when I bought this, I was doing kind of smaller scale sketches and drawings, and I was exploring all the brands, and I was using a lot of pans and less tubes. Some tubes, but I had a lot of my paints in pans that I've collected through the years. And I decided to get the biggest one, of course, which has, I don't know, a gazillion of these wells. And then at some point I even got this insert. It is massive and it houses a gazillion wells. And you can buy, the really nice thing about them is that you can buy these kind of inserts. I didn't buy for mine. These kind of wells that fit perfectly in these so that you can switch them up. Now you can see that this, if you choose to buy it, it comes on a Lazy Susan, which I love. I love this feature. And another feature that I love about this is that you can buy a porcelain insert. And if you're like me, this is kind of, you can't get such a palette made from porcelain, but I don't need my paints necessarily to be on a porcelain plate, but I love mixing them on porcelain. I showed in a previous video my studio palette, which is porcelain. So I think this is kind of the best of both worlds. I think this is really well made. I'm not a huge fan of the feel of this plastic. It's very sturdy. I really can't see how you could damage this. And they offer like all these different kind of inserts, so you can have a lot of mixing areas. And they also have smaller ones that could work for travel palettes. And I love the feature of these inserts that fit into the wells. If I decided to buy one now, I would choose the smaller one that has larger wells, because for me now the size of these wells is too small for what I like. If I use a large brush, I kind of have to like dig into them, and they offer ones that have larger wells. I will write below the one that I would choose right now, and I would absolutely get these for like a lot of these. If you watch Angela Fair, I think she has the size of wells that I would go for now. So they're bigger and just work better if you're painting on a larger scale. But yeah, I have yet to find the absolute perfect palette. Every palette has its advantages and disadvantages. But yeah, this was the most expensive one that I bought. I don't use it right now. It takes a lot of space and I do a lot of different crafts. Right now I'm working on my journal. I have a designated area for watercolors, but it still kind of takes up too much space and I prefer my porcelain palette. That was my treat to myself and I did enjoy it for several years. Moving on to the most expensive set of watercolors that I ever bought, and this was my first set of artist grade watercolors. I don't even remember what I had before this. Maybe I had the Cotman set or the Gansai Tambi one, but this was like my first proper one. It's the 24 half pan Sennelier. Since then they have moved around between all my palettes, and but that is the box. I've had a lot of metal tins and I do feel that this one is very, very good quality. You know, some are just more flimsy and crooked than others, but this one is really, really nice and it's been with me the longest and still looks practically new. I think this set is worth the price. I've mentioned in my beginner's shopping guide that I think a 24 half pan set in a metal tin is a great option for a beginner's set if you want to invest in artist grade. And the Sennelier one is beautiful. These are French, they are not vegan, they have honey in them, which I know for some people, even if they don't eat animal products, they're okay with certain kinds of honey. So I'm just mentioning that, and it's a beautiful set. The color selection is beautiful. Their formula is beautiful. I really enjoyed Sennelier. I still enjoy the ones that I have. And I think this set was really money well spent. I've used the paints for years and yeah, I can only recommend it. I think if you find a similar set, you know, 24 half pans in a metal tin from another well-known brand like Daniel Smith or Schminke or I don't know, Rembrandt or something like that, and it's a better price, I don't necessarily think that this is worth that extra money, but for what it is, I think it's a really beautiful, beautiful set. Now, as for paint, I think the most expensive ones that I have, let's zoom in a bit, like single paints. Obviously tubes are, like large tubes are the most expensive when you just buy a single paint, and some pigments are more expensive than others. I bought this set. This is a part of a 5-tube set from M-Gram. I think this was pretty pricey, around the $50 mark, I want to say. Not crazy expensive when you get 5 tubes of all with cobalt pigments, which are expensive. It's beautiful. The M-Gram is also honey-based paint. I don't recommend it for travel palettes or travel palettes because it never really dries. It stays very, very tacky and sticky. But for studio work, these are beautiful. I know they're a favorite amongst many, many artists. These are American, so probably in Europe it's not the most affordable option, but if you're in the US, check out their sets. They are really, really lovely. So in this case, I will link you to everything. I think this was money well spent. Now this was a big, big fail and I pulled it out for this video and now I can see that it's really ready to be tossed. This is a tube of Malachite Genuine from Daniel Smith. This is one of their more, you know, like expensive pigments. Can you hear that? It's completely, completely hard. And when I used it, when I first got it, it was mostly binder. So this is something I've said before about Daniel Smith. For the most part, I think their paint is fantastic, but they do have some formulations that are not the best. Actually, Cobalt Violet would be another example in my personal opinion, but this is a complete fail, waste of money, and I'm just going to toss it now because it's just like stone inside. So yeah, sorry about that. This was another expensive tube. This is Core, and Core, I have a couple of their introductory sets and I really enjoy painting with them. But again, these are Americans, I'm in Europe, so they're more expensive here than they would be in the States. And I can't justify ordering, I can't justify them being my go-to paint. I'm really tempted to try one of their new, like, not new, relatively new travel set. I've had my eye on that for a long time and I kept saying to myself, I don't need it. Obviously, I don't need more paint for a long time. But anyway, this is Cobalt Violet. I decided to try it because my go-to Cobalt Violet, that is Winsor & Newton, I'm always running out of it. This one is vegan, Winsor & Newton is not. And that's why I decided to buy this. I haven't really used it, so I don't know if it's worth the money. But that is one of the most expensive tubes in my collection. This is going to the trash. Moving on to brushes. So these are my most expensive brushes, most expensive set I've ever bought. This is expensive stuff. So this is the Jean Haines Kolinsky Sable Trio. According to her, these are the only brushes that she uses. I bought this a few years ago and these are beautiful. These are made by Rosemary & Co. I don't know if their own brushes they don't have the name Jean Haines on them are cheaper, but I would definitely check that out. These are lovely. If you love Jean Haines and how she works, then yes, you could probably, you know, get the results she gets with these brushes. Buy these and you can paint like Jean Haines. No, I just mean that the techniques that she uses, you know, if you have these brushes, you can also work with the same kind of techniques and get similar results. I would not repurchase these for a couple of reasons. The price is the first one, they're very expensive, and these are real hair, squirrel hair. I don't purchase real hair anymore, only synthetic, to avoid supporting animal cruelty. But besides that, my issue with these is that, I mean, you have the detail brush, so if you need to add details, you can use the detail brush. But these don't come to, even when they are wet, the point is not really fine. And I really enjoy brushes that give me a variety of brush strokes. And I think for that, and also, you know, with soft hair that hold a lot of water, and I think there are great synthetic options. I will list some below. And I really don't see the need to spend, I don't know, over $100 for these brushes. I also don't see the need nowadays to buy natural hair brushes at all. So yeah, this is a purchase. You know, I can tell you that now I sometimes reach for this brush, but for the most part, these don't get a lot of use these days. Okay, I had to take a look at Jackson's and check the prices and see which is the most expensive sketchbook that I have, and I found my most expensive sketchbook. The most expensive one for watercolors at Jackson's is currently the Etcher one, which I think they are made in Australia, and they're 100% cotton sketchbooks, and they are vegan, so seemingly perfect, but really expensive. I might try one at some point, but for now I'll use what I have. So most expensive sketchbook that I have is this ginormous one from Khadi. It has a soft cover. I wouldn't even say it has a cover because it's just signatures of watercolor paper stitched and then stitched together. Yeah, I think, yeah, I don't think they're glued, but I love this. This was really fun to use. So this is 35 on 30. That's the dimension of this, centimeters that is. I think it's a beautiful journal. I love the Khadi paper. I know a lot of you bought this on my recommendation, and from what I hear, a lot of you also enjoy it. The large sketchbook is a really fun size to play with, and I think this is a really, really lovely journal. I absolutely think it's worth the money. You get a lot of paper for what you're paying. This one is the rough. I prefer their rough paper. You can see how it's the handmade feel, the way it handles the paint. If you love this kind of like flowing, loose type of painting, then I really enjoy this paper. This is the most expensive paper that I ever bought in single sheets. I ordered this from Ken Bromley in the UK, and this is cut. They cut it for you to what is called quarter imperial size, which is this. I think, I don't even know how much this is in inches, but in centimeters, this is about 28 on, I don't know, 38, something like that, centimeters. This is the 600 GSM paper, so it is super, super thick. I think this is what Jean Haines uses for all of her small sketches, practices, whatever. This paper is beautiful. It's amazing. It behaves incredible. Yeah, this is 300 pounds, so 600 GSM. It's like the best, I think, money can buy. And because I enjoy painting in a more kind of intuitive way, I don't plan things, I don't do a lot of like preliminary sketches, I'm scared to use it. It's stupid, I have it, I should just use it and enjoy it. But that's the reality, that I just go for my, you know, cheaper, excellent quality, lighter weight, artist grade paper. But I wanted to share this with you. If you really want to treat yourself to, you know, the best paper, and you don't like painting in sketchbooks, I mean, obviously this sort of like super heavyweight, you don't have sketchbooks with this kind of paper. You should try it. Maybe get a single sheet or something and test it out before you commit to a whole pack. Khadi offers even thicker, even heavier paper, which, you know, I would be very curious to try, but yeah, I don't know if that'll ever happen. I wanted to show you. So this is kind of top of the line. As I said, some of these things I don't use. I spend a lot of money on them and they don't work for me. And then others, you know, like these, this sketchbook I really, really enjoyed, and I think it was worth every dollar spent. So make your own decisions, and I would love to know what is your most expensive purchase, and if you like it and enjoy it, or if you think it's overpriced. I just want to be honest with you and tell you my opinion, and, you know, try to help you make better decisions and save money from, you know, learn from my mistakes. And yeah, that's it. I hope you're staying safe during this crazy, crazy time. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in another video soon. Bye.